I've been pissed on by a goat.
Park reviews. Park reviews.
We are here at the Wilds Park Nature Reserve something. We will be trekking upwards to what we have been told is a view of our beautiful city. Down there is like a place that looks like a normal park. We will might go down there later, but we will not. Welcome to
Park reviews. Park reviews.
Let's get it. Up we go. We've been here for maybe like 5 minutes now. What we have noticed is that whilst this path may look beautiful, it's fucking exhausting as we do wash in hot water. Here's the tree of love. Love is so important. We live in a world devoid of love. And even though love is important, being devoid of love is important to bad tree. Yeah. Love's importance is in the passion that it invokes. Passion fuels great men. I will not mention them because I've just taken a very important position, so I do not afford to be cancelled. But great men driven by passion, a love for what they view as right, and a hatred for what they view as wrong. And hatred is the antithesis of love. You cannot define hatred without defining love. Hatred drives the world. Maybe one day love will drive the world, but that's when Bob Marley comes back again. This is a form of torture. This would be like okay to walk on, but these steps are so uneven. Maybe that's the purpose. There's a promise of something beautiful at the top, but you have to suffer, but mildly suffer. And to some extent I believe that mildly suffering is worse than just full on torture. As in life, inconvenience follows me everywhere, causing me to be a bit of a curmudgeon in life. And being a curmudgeon gives yourself bad perception to other people. Because all of my suffering is so minute, and the way people perceive it is that I'm complaining about nothing. But what you have to understand is all of these tiny little inconveniences add up to depression. One day, all of these mild inconveniences, all of these mild inconveniences will could lead to damage. I have damaged my body. I've ripped. So I swung my arm playing Wii tennis. I really needed to beat this guy, and I swung it too hard without stretching beforehand. Remember, if you're playing Wii Sports, you must always stretch before. And I didn't stretch, and I swung, and it ripped. And then I was like, oh, who cares? It's just a little pain from Wii Sports. Surely it's not going to turn into something more, and it did turn into more. And I was in great pain. I had to go to the physio. They stuck needles in my body, and somehow that fixed it, kinda. Water. Where must it? Water. A lot of water we find in the city, in the parks, is like toxic. The ducks, they're insane. They have a bloodlust in their eyes. Have you guys heard a fight song by that Rachel Go? This is my fight song. My power's turned on, etc., etc. I fall asleep to that song sometimes because my fight song is sleep. Not for the reasons you might think. It's not to regenerate. We're gonna be at the top of the city soon. Well, we're gonna be physically at the top of the city soon. I'm already at the top of the city. It's time to move on to new cities. Maybe you guys can hop in the comment section and tell us what cities we should move to be at the top of those cities, etc., etc. I have goats at my house. I sometimes speak to the goats, and it's quite therapeutic because they tend not to care about what I'm saying. They tend not to engage what I'm saying. They rarely ever engage with my hands. in the eventuality that I may have some food for them. And it's something about being disregarded unless you can offer, whilst also being able to speak without being questioned. That really soothes me. I think that's what God must feel like. And that's why I talk to the goats. I talk to the cows too, because you have those too. And sometimes I try to tell myself they're just massive goats, but they aren't, because the cows can kill me. The goats cannot. That is not what God must feel like. Yeah. Oh, that's good. Now the city is before us. This feels like the wrong side of the city. I feel like every other view of the city is from like there. Yeah, Samson. Yeah. So maybe it's the right side of the city. This is the real city where things get done. Does South Africa work like that? In theory, Joburg should be where things get done. But I think we're trying to be like a financial center, so Sandton and Rosebank's where things get done. Even though there's not much real productivity. Not that there's much productivity here. The productivity happens in Brakpan with the PWTs. Not Brakpan, they don't do anything. But in the East Rand, horrible place, the East Rand. I'm not going to do anything in the East Rand. Actually, I like watching car shows in the East Rand. Yeah, because the poor white mind works in marvelous ways. They come with some very cool shit. Look, tree over there, right? The green one. The green one. And it's literally a green tree because it has no leaves, but the tree is green. I think that's like me. I have a rich mindset, but no money. I am green, but where's my green? So bar. And also, we hate moths, but we like butterflies. Same thing. Same fucking thing. Except they say one doesn't leave powder. But have you ever had a butterfly stuck in your house? So you wouldn't know if it left powder or not. You know what I mean? There's mothballs to kill moths. No butterfly balls. I don't know if my grandmother ever had mothballs. I feel like she was a real woman and she knew not to do such stupidity. Over there's Telkom Tower. I think it was. That's actually interesting. Let me give you some history. So the Transnet building, which we cannot see, the Carlton Center, it would be somewhere that side. The Carlton Center was the tallest building in Johannesburg when it was built, right? And then around that time, there was not much network coverage in the city because of the tall buildings. So then they had to build the telecom center. I think it was like 1987. We can do some fact checking later, so that we could have adequate cell phone coverage inside of the city, and thus the telecom tower was born, which, including its antenna, made it one of the tallest buildings in Africa for a very long time. The Leonardo is now taller, but it hasn't been the tallest for some while.
Known for losing thing. I've lost all my lunch boxes, all my pencil cases at school. And when I was a child, I also lost everything. And then in the beginning, I always was to my mom, "Mom, I lost it. I lost it. I lost it." And then she would be like, she would look around, and then like I would be taking like 10 minutes to find it. Then I would give up and ask her, and then in like 30 seconds she'd find it, and then feel very vindicated and boast that, "Huh, I can always find it. I can always find it." And then that happened many, many times until I was like, okay, lady, I'm sure I can find it too. And I never found anything. I've become very non possessive and very just go with the flow kind of guy. I don't like to get attached to objects or to where I am or to my status or to anything. Because I know that at any point something, somebody, somewhere can just leave me. And it's freeing to a certain extent. But then as a human, you also like to make connections with objects, connections with art, connections with places, connections with people. And then this mindset that you've internalized kind of poses a problem to that, causes conflict with these artworks, with these people. But being this non-possessive person and go with the flow kind of guy, also even though it has those downsides, it also has the benefits of making me open to learning new things. I love learning new things. I love growing as a person, evolving. So I will always listen to the other person and many times internalize what they say, for better or for worse. And being nomadic means walking. and we've walked to this incredible view. I've seen better views though, so we'll see how that plays into our rating system. This is a park review. This is a park. It's very unique from other parks because it also adds like a proper hike. Other parks will say it's a hike and then you're just walking around the park. This was like a real hike. We got tired. I'm sweating a bit. I'm a sweater. I think this is mostly, I haven't been told I stink recently, but during high school, people would always make fun of me for how I smelled. And I think I still smell to a certain extent because I'm a sweater, but it's just a normal sweating smell. Man sweats, which attracts some, but I assume it repels more. I'm 6 foot, I can tell that to people. Some days I'm not though, but on the best days I am. The butterflies are terrorizing us. The hungry caterpillar. You know, that story is about everyone was judging the hungry caterpillar for being hungry, but then he turned into a beautiful butterfly. It's a metaphor for life. You should be hungry for life. Be hungry for knowledge. Just always eat the fruits of life. You know what I mean? I think living in South Africa is very strange. There's a very strange dynamic between people because we're such like a multicultural place, and you grow up in spaces where you interact with everybody of all different ethnicities and backgrounds, but somehow through our culture or maybe the history of our country, we still learn biases and people grow to be racist and xenophobic somehow, which never made sense to me because of this upbringing that I've been through, and I assume many other people have as well. Like we're put into these places, and because of the multiculturalism, you feel comfortable to just say whatever you want about people's background and whatnot, like verging on offensive, but because of our culture, it doesn't become that, you know. But then on the flip side, some people don't. They take this openness to speak, and somehow internalize it to racist thoughts, to real like stereotypes is a huge part of our comedy world. All of like some of the biggest comedians here grew because of jokes about stereotype, and like that's not a horrible thing. It can be very funny, especially since we're exposed to so many cultures. So you kind of firsthand experience these stereotypes. But some people are just not funny or lack nuance and lack intelligence to separate the humor from the reality. So then they'll beat the people. They'll beat the black people for stealing and blame it on their blackness when it's just because they're the majority, and they'll blame the Indians for stinking when we're just sweaters, we're greasy people. I got in trouble for critiquing the way that in my school for critiquing the way that whiteness was applied to our institute, and somehow that was too much for society. But our principal could say, you don't know what it's like to be you don't know what it's like to be a white man in middle management. They're responding to complaints about racism in the school, and you got away with it. So that played a big role into my viewpoint of the world, because during the disciplinary hearings, through this rhetoric and the way that they were speaking, I kind of just had to shut up and take the punishment that wasn't needed for not even like saying anything crazy like kill all white people or whatnot, just critiquing the system that we were a part of. So that's made it so that I've alienated myself from certain parts of society, but that's not my fault. I should be allowed to say whatever I want to say because I'm not a racist or anything like that.
It's not gonna get it. Wait. Beautiful bridge. Uh, it's nice. It's windy. It's spirally. It's a bridge, guys. It bridges. It connects the two parts of the park together. So it is a bridge, and like fourth sense of the word bridge is a bridge, the physical structure, and this one is also a connector. It bridges the gap between two things, and this bridge is doing as almost every other bridge does. Perhaps why they're called bridges, because they actually are bridges. You know how we do it. Yep, we are truly in the wilds, as you can see. Hi! What felt like a torturous walk climb. Hi! Led us this high up from the ground below us. And when you look at how far you've come, you realize that it didn't actually feel that long. It felt long, but it didn't feel that long. That's how much progress we have made from a relatively short climb when we could have stayed on the plateau. Well, the plateau is like just right there, so but like relatively from the graph or from the thing up, you know what I mean? Oh, sick! There's graffiti. I think we might have to go off the path. Ah, go off the beaten path to find the other path. This journey, it waters us. You know, it fulfills us. It nourishes us. So we never need water. Although there's many hikers who die because of water deprivation. But I think, actually, maybe someone who watches this will have connection to someone who did. So I wouldn't say that. I don't care. I think they just weren't connecting enough. They weren't feeling. They were running away. They were escaping. Which is what I'm doing. So you should all be very afraid for me. If you care for me. Which you should. I need it. I need love. Actually, I don't know. Do you think people do worse things because of an absence of love?
Yeah.
Or do they do worse things because of too much love? Do you think in a different time, if like Hitler was constrained enough, it would have been like an analog incel? Because I don't think they had much technology back then. An empty lake. In fact, a path must be moved away from. Because if you stay on the path and don't go off the beaten path, you'll find yourselves in empty lakes. Don't pay attention. That's why women hate me. But apparently, no, not apparently. That has negative connotations. Apparently, I'm doing it again. If you say apparently to something somebody said, it makes it seem like you're throwing shots at them. So, I'll start again. They don't like me because I don't focus on the smaller things in life, such as the small details in what they say. But that's because even though my brain has infinite capacity, it has finite capacity. So I must listen to you generally and then take what you say and then disregard the parts I don't feel matter. So like most of it. I'm joking. Masjid of the Arabs. Yeah, just the Arabs. The Arabs are the coolest. Remember, I forgot his name. Imad. Imad. Coolest man I ever met. But now that he's become more South African and hung out with more South African white people, it's become a bit boring. He was coolest when he was his most authentic Arab self. When the teacher would say textbook guys and he'd pull out his iPad and then just not give a fuck when they told him to put it away and not do so. You know? America has brutalized the Arabs so much that even in the more mundane they're still forced to resist. Resistance. The resistance must never die. Interesting. What mall is that? Probably Killarney. No, it can't be Killarney. You tell me we've walked from there in Parktown to Killarney here in fucking 50 steps.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's how high ground works. That's why.
No,
That's how
no.
airplanes work.
Yes, that's a stupid thing you just said. Because the aeroplane is significantly farther than we are. Also, the aeroplane travels at 700 kilometers an hour, Kellen.
It's not like we're right next to it. It just seems like we are because of.
No, if I walk straight, I'm ending up in that building.
It would take you at least like 20 minutes to get there.
Yes.
More actually.
Yes, no, yes, because to go there, but to go that way, there should be no
Yeah,
difference.
but then it's not the
It's
same.
it's called displacement. You didn't do much mathematics in your life, clearly. It is fucking Killarney. Okay.
So do I win my argument?
No, your argument is see that dome-shaped thing there in the distance, that white dome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I live there. Not in the dome, but by the dome. That's how far I travel every day. Okay. It's called wind resistance. Oh, that was even worse than I expected. People don't have a grasp of relativity. They think that everything that's applicable to them is applicable to everyone else, and that's not true. It's only true of me, but that's because I'm a master of relativity. I am Einstein in the flesh, because Einstein's no longer in the flesh. Have you ever seen me and Einstein in the same room? No, but you don't know what happens when I sleep. Just the other night I dreamt about LL Cool J. Like, who does that? Me. Far over there in the distance. The power stations. That is what gives South Africa electricity, of which we have had recently.
Oh wow.
Yeah, like 4 months. Before then, every now and again we'd have electricity. The speculation as to what got fixed. I don't think much got fixed. Many people got solar, and then the load shedding ended, and now the solar companies are going into bankruptcy. Well, one of them, but it was also, I think, improperly managed. They got into a lot of debt. This is a very insightful economics lesson, right? So when you have you have like a recession of sorts. In this case, we'll call load shedding recession. Although load shedding did lead to recession, but we'll call the load shedding the recession, right? And then to fix the recession, normally in an economy, your reserve bank, etc., would implement certain measures like, well, it depends what caused the recession, but let's call it an output. There was decreased output, so then you'd have try to find a way to increase output, so you'd make lending money cheaper, so that you could hypothetically like increase investment, so companies could go build plants, etc., right? And then they'd do that, they'd have more, and then things would at first be cheaper because the recession bleeds over, so demand would be low, and then demand would rise, so then you would increase your prices, build more plants, etc., and keep increasing your prices as plants rise, because that increased output would lead to more people purchasing, which would have a bleed on effect, which means because there's more money in the economy, people get richer. And then you'd raise your prices until inevitably people can't afford to buy anymore. But now you've just built so many plants because you think people want to buy, but no one wants to buy anymore. So then you have to fire all your workers, and then you have to shut your plant, and then we go into a recession again. I enjoy badly explained stuff. What the fuck? We're going down. Because I'm not going down
Like
efficiently. Hi. We're about to run into people. So I think this is this is hardly a hike. Look how we've done it. I don't understand. That fence goes down, which implies that this goes down. Let's go see what's down. A wall. Boring. And the park literally just does that. And this is apparently not even a park but a nature reserve. I've seen no nature. Well, okay. I've seen much nature. Seen no wild life. Except for me. Because I'm an animal. No, this is boring. What the fuck? I hate this park. Sometimes the path doesn't go the way you want it to, and then you're inclined to beat yourself up when you could just take the easiest path to the next path, as we were doing. Park review? Maybe. Life lessons? Many. I had food. and I no longer feel subhuman. I'm driven by hunger, you know?
Yeah.
Hunger to do more, hunger to be more, hunger to just be a machine, to be a robot or a robotic human, just lead productivity. And then I get told that that's heartbreaking because I also say that we don't care about my birthday. But the truth is, I'm driven by a hunger to do more, and also a hunger for food. Uh, Hikers. This is actually my point that you have everything you need. They have so much equipment, and we've done the same hike as them, and this is what we have. You have everything you need to start the quest to your dreams. Equipment is nice, but work to get it. Don't expect to be given it. Sometimes I watch self-help YouTube videos, but that's when I'm like not quite in the mood for Slavoj Žižek laughing, but I want to laugh at something else, something slightly more nuanced, you know. Then you read like self-help. You need to wake up early, and they say 8, and it's like at 8 I've been up for 2, 3 fucking hours, as many people in the world are. The people you on your podcast are telling to work harder, who work way harder than you, will ever and have ever worked in your life. I've been pissed on by a goat.
Really?
Yeah.
You not just move away.
Because I was facing the goat,
Yeah.
right? But it was a man goat. And sometimes when then the process of impregnating other females, their testicles, well, not their penises extend,
Yeah.
but then sometimes they just extend them for fun. So then they extended it forward, and then I was standing there, and then I was like, huh, why are my slides wet now? And they looked down and it was peeing on me. And then I did not abuse it because I don't believe in animal abuse. Sometimes me and my siblings, when we were like much younger, so the goats were reasonably sized compared to us, right? We'd go and then while they were eating, so we'd give them like corn and things, like the chicken's food, which was like cracked to them, and then we'd go behind them, and then you'd grab its tail and tug it a bit, and the goat would freak out and like fly forward, and then you just get dragged by the goat's tail as it runs away from you, and that was a bit fun. We are coming to an end of our this park review. It's not the end because we still have a bit of a way back to walk. But let's say if this was the structure of like a film, the climax would be us discovering that our travels led to nowhere, and this would be the falling action. Maybe we'll get more traction on these park reviews once the parks turn green, but that's not the nature of these park reviews. It's to show you should be going to parks every day of your life throughout the year, because as we do. Going to parks became a necessity for us since we had nothing else to do. We've been going to parks. So been going to parks consistently since the beginning of last year, January 2023, and it's just become a way of life. We kind of stuck to 3 main parks, which we haven't reviewed yet. We are a bit hesitant to review those parks because we've been there so many times. So that is why we have been going to new parks. But we feel because of these consistent park visits, we are extremely knowledgeable on the subject. That's why we came up with this idea to start.
Park reviews.
Let's do a fit check. This was 5 rand. This was a gift from my mother. These were 20 rand, and the shoes, they were probably like, I got them in an outlet store, but you know shoes, even New Balances, they're like super expensive for some reason, so they were probably like 600 rand. Rate the fits. You can rate just from like a scale of 1 to 5. I don't really bode well with 1 to 10. There's too many variables to do that when you turn the scale into out of 10 reviews. That's why most movies, when they have the promos for the trailers, they're all like the greats would give it like out of 5 stars. The best ones would do it without like the 3.5 or the 4.5s. I wish I was like that. On my Letterboxd account, there's multiple 0.5s because to me it's really hard
to make a bad film, especially if you're seeing it in like theaters. That's like the ultimate experience. Like you'll see like a film on the big screen and it's amazing. You sit there in the dark room, you watch the film, and it will bring upon great amazement and 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 thoughts, and just the experience is amazing. So it's hard to hate the film. But if you see a fucking Deadpool and Wolverine, oh my god, I don't know how anyone could sit through that. The only reason you sit through it is because you've paid the money to actually go watch it. So I guess it's my turn to give my thoughts on bridges. I have a fear of heights, so as beautiful as this bridge may be, I'm incredibly scared right now, as I feel I could, even from the middle of my standing here, I could. Oh, we made it. We made it to the end, and that's all that matters. Because at one point in everyone's life, it will end, and that's what's beautiful about life, is that it will end. I think I've heard that there's a Japanese proverb about that. I don't remember it.
These are our concluding remarks. This park, decent park. There's a lot to see. Quite expansive, but I don't feel as connected as the previous
Yeah.
parks. I don't know.
It's shooting too high for what it actually is. Like this park believes that it's a hiking range, that's more than a park, and that's a bit pretentious. You know, being a park is nothing to scoff at. It's actually a beautiful thing, and this park doesn't want to be a park. So I would say it's like a 5 out of 10. Maybe on like specific days it would be like a 9 out of 10 maybe. But I think just the ideology behind this park is extremely flawed and sort of enrages me. So for that reason, I don't like it.
There's beauty in wanting to be more, but you need to commit. And this park really is halfway in between everything, and as such, a mixture of both worlds is never good because it will never be the best of both worlds. And I agree. This park actually makes me angry and it makes me happy. As such, I too will give it a 5 out of 10.
Okay, thank you guys. Maybe drop down in the comments if you want us to review anything.